So basically the question is, will Asylum Access and Amnesty International Malaysia seek to cite the Malaysian government or the Immigration Department for contempt of court, despite, for the deportation, despite the High Court order for a stay?
I'll make a quick comment and then the lawyers can also add on and go into, I think right now our most urgent priority really is for the 1,200 people who were on the list. In regards to contempt proceedings and anything like that, it requires further scrutiny. But because there are lives potentially at risk right now, really our urgent priority has to focus on the implications of the people en route, what happens when they arrive, what happens to the people left behind, and a reminder that there are other Myanmar nationals in detention centers. And that's why we repeat over and over again that this UNHCR access is imperative, cannot be delayed further, because lives are at risk. And that's what we want to forefront. And that's what I think, a reminder again to the Malaysian government, why did you do this when there were lives at risk? Queen, would you like to add?
No, I think you've put it really well. Again, just to say that our priority really is about the people who are left behind. What's happened to the 1,086 people that's been deported? We want an explanation. We want to know what's happened. But in terms of just sort of contempt proceedings, those things are things that we would maybe consider later. I'll hand it over to maybe Senor if you have any comments.
I think also just one more category that we want to focus on is we looked at people with UNHCR documents, we looked at asylum seekers, and we also looked at children. And that's why in our statement, we mentioned CRC and the CEDAW, because the government has an obligation to that. So when I say UNHCR access, I also mean, and Hui, please add on in regards to the children and our grave concerns about them.
Yeah, definitely. Just based on the information that we gathered, there were at least 17 children that we could identify based on the information we could get. But we fear the number is way higher based on the government's own sort of admission, right? In October 2020, in a parliamentary answer, there are over 700 children that are currently in immigration detention, over 50% of which are unaccompanied. And we do know that in terms of the statistics that we have, that the majority of them are Myanmar nationals. And so it is quite concerning, and we believe that the number might be a lot higher.
Okay, I think this also answers a question from Muhammad Azril, who asked, whether the actions of the Immigration Director General is in contempt of court. He also asked if we will lodge a police report against the Immigration Director General, and what sort of action can be taken against the Immigration Director General for ignoring the court order. I think the answers probably would have responded to that. So I'll move on to the next question. We have one from Rosanna Latif of Reuters. Do we know if any refugees or asylum seekers or minors were on board the ships? If so, how many?
Yeah, so this is exactly why we are saying that the government has to respond. Tell us the identity and the status of the 1,200 people. The fact is, it cannot be on us to give this information. It is the government who has the information, and they need to release that. So as of now, we've been kept in the dark, and so have the communities.
Yeah, but I think just to sort of add on to what Katrina was saying, right? I think what concerns us is that the government has issued a statement saying that there aren't any UNHCR card holders. But according to the information that we obtained, that's not true. And then the government later said that there were no asylum seekers that were on the list. And again, according to the information that we've gathered, that isn't true. So I think that that's what makes the whole situation a lot more concerning.
Right. And just to add on to that, it is the UN's job to be doing these assessments on refugee claims. And so if the UNHCR has not been granted access, how exactly did they verify that there were no refugees and asylum seekers on board? We can take the next question, Ryan.
Sure. We have one in the chat room. I will just read it out. This is from Sabrina Adrian. Does the court order in any way compel the government to reveal more information or proof? Like, did they really volunteer to return home? ? And does this justify the move to continue with the deportation?
Perhaps we'll tell this to the lawyers.
It's Sabrina, right?
Yes.
At this stage, no, but it is something that we are seeking at a later stage of the proceeding. Because currently, the court has to first decide whether or not permission is granted to Amnesty International and to Asylum Access Malaysia to commence judicial review against the decisions. And once that is done, then we are looking at discovery to obtain more information regarding those who are on board and those who are part of the 1,200 and their status, age, many things in greater detail. So that's something that we are looking at. But we have to cross the first hurdle first, which is to obtain permission. That will be done on the 9th of March.